What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We're back inside the BJJ podcast. I am your most gracious host. I want to bestow upon myself a title, like most worshipful great host.
Oh yeah.
Of like elevated podcast or something like that. And then I'll give you guys titles like junior producer, senior co-host. Welcome, Andrew. It's good to see you, my friend.
You too.
Omar, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Not so good to see you.
Not so good to see Omar.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's because I'm upset already.
Fuck you. You're a senior co-host. I just want to keep him at senior co-host because then I could demote him. You know what I mean? I can knock him down a peg.
Junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can only go to intern and then fired. I only got 2 steps.
I technically, I can't really put you at intern because you're not getting paid already. So it's it's kind of like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that.
You should get a paid intern just to screw him over. Like,
that would
he's like,
dock him.
It'd be so funny.
That would be funny. We should get it. Go ahead, sir.
Somebody could fetch our coffees for us.
We should get an intern for Andrew to shit on. He could just be like,
just
push the button. Push the button.
I would go.
So like what you do to him before
Pretty
the show
much.
starts?
We could just pass it down.
Yeah.
Rolls downhill.
Yeah, it sure does.
I'd be tyrannical with power.
Before we go anywhere, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in Salt Electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
And welcome back. Use the discount code Inside BJJ at checkout. Inside BJJ 15. Save yourself 15%. We are going to have Riley from Salt on in a couple weeks here.
Nice.
Oh,
have him in to chat with him. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, man. He's been training for a long time. Puts out some cool stuff online. So
sweet.
But yeah, it's like, man, of course, I want you to come on the podcast because you're sponsoring all the cool shit that I'm doing. And you're also doing cool, like it's neat that he started Salt Electrolytes. And he might have partners, I'm not positive, so I apologize if there's like a silent partner. Nobody ever talks about me.
Yeah.
Said the silent partner.
Yeah.
Does he? You said he trains?
Yeah, he trains.
And gi or no gi? Do you know?
I think I usually see him in the gi.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that? You're like, oof. Okay, I guess you could say he trains.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
So the guy's been in a gi once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't even need to go back. That's good enough.
We have Jared Fakete joining the program, and we're going to jump him on. It looks like he just joined us backstage, so let's add him to the show. Oh, go ahead, Andrew. I just DOS-boxed you, man. Yo, what's up, Jared? How you doing?
Hey, good. How's it going, guys?
Hey, it's going well, man. I have my co-host Omar here, and our producer Andrew just jumped off the screen. I think you scared him.
Yeah.
I think you're too big, dude. I think he saw the guns, and he's like, oh!
I like being the biggest dude on camera, and that's not true anymore.
Jared, you are fresh off your win at Subversive 7. Tell us how you're feeling about that matchup, and how are you feeling about the event in general?
Very grateful. I mean, I think I'm just really humbled. I got the experience to, compete against Jesse Taylor, like a legend of the sport, really. I didn't really know a whole lot about him, but I know a lot about him now, just locking horns with him. He was a super cool guy, came up to me, just really respectful, and just, you can tell he's there for the sport of it. He's a real showman, and he's done some really cool stuff. So it's like really grateful for that. And then just, the Subversive was just like really eye-opening, how passionate people are about the sport, growing the sport, how good people a lot of good people are involved. So just had really good experience.
Tell us about the bear. It looked like a bear cape that you wore out,
Yeah.
but I think it was
Oh,
a
man,
jacket.
Yeah, well.
Look at he's got it. Beautiful.
So I have a polar bear as well, a real live polar bear. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Great Pyrenees. She's like 120 pounds. It really is like a bear of a dog. But yeah, and then the bear symbolism comes from the area I'm from, is Sleeping Bear National Lakeshore. So northern Michigan is Sleeping Bear National Park. So Sleeping Bear Jiu-Jitsu is my sort of brand and team here. So.
Tell our audience a little bit more about yourself, a little bit about your background, and kind of what you're doing in jiu-jitsu now.
Yeah, just grew up wrestling. Really was small town, small division wrestling, Northern Michigan, and then extended that to college. Didn't accomplish like the goals I wanted to accomplish. Same thing kind of happened. Another cycle of that in college. A great experience. Learned a lot. 4 years under a two-time Greco-Roman Olympian, and just had a great experience there. Kind of transitioned to MMA because I didn't really know what to do after college. I was trying to get into the Marine Corps, but I tore my pec and I had some medical waivers I had to kind of work my way through for 2 years. Joined the Marine Corps with the idea of joining the All-Marine Wrestling team, which eventually I did sort of make happen. Me and Denzel Freeman, another Freeman was on the card, my coach, training partner. We kind of like put together our own team because the team was established when we got there, but as COVID hit, they were disbanding, unfortunately, which was kind of a tragedy because of the quality of training partners that were on the team. Like we had 2 world team members and an Olympian, and then multiple nationals, All-Americans and stuff like that on the team. So I got to train with them for a little while, kept it going. But then when that disbanded, me and Freeman really just did our own thing, and he was getting into the PFL and doing a lot of fighting and also wrestling and stuff. So we kept that going. Ended up getting to wrestle for the Navy, did the Armed Forces Challenge. Both of us took first and freestyle, and him and Greco. And yeah, it was just, we just keep it going pretty much. Been wrestling, doing jiu-jitsu since I joined the Marine Corps, really. So like 5-6 years.
Tell me, how does it work when you're wrestling in the Marines? Like, what does that actually mean? They field a team. Who do they wrestle against?
Yeah, they did field the team. There was a team that was put together, had a really good run for 4 or 5 years, I think, 3-4 years maybe. But that was kind of on the tail end of that, where I was joining at a time where you didn't see it coming, but the type of leadership came in and just didn't see the value in it, which is unfortunate because like there's a lot of recruiting value in that. But anyways, yeah, it was kind of going away. But there's the Armed Forces Challenge, which all the services put together a team, and then we go against each other. There's the military games. There's the U.S. Open. So me and Freeman wrestled in the last 2 U.S. Opens. Freeman took third this last time around, last December, putting him in like one of the top spots on the Greco team. So he's in Colorado right now at the Olympic Training Center.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he went reserves and really worked his connections and got himself in a good position out there. So he's really training wrestling and fighting full time for the most part. He called this subversive a side quest, which I mean, kudos to him because he had a really talented jiu-jitsu like specialist, and he did a good job not getting subbed. I was proud of him.
Yeah, were you surprised at the way that your match with Jesse Taylor went down?
Actually, no, not really. It all kind of like made sense at the end, where I think he's very talented, very skillful. But we talked a little bit after, and it kind of made sense that I think he's really kind of searching to get a little bit of that fire back, and connect his heart to like more of the reason of like, why am I doing this? Whereas like I have a really good, strong like why, and like feel really connected to the sport. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but he's an MMA guy, and I know he's had some rough goes of it. Like with all I really know about is some of the things that happened with him in the UFC. I don't know the rest of his career very well, but it sounds like it was pretty amazing. And so I think I came in there with the mentality of just laying it on him and just being really heavy and fast. And I kind of felt the break. You know, I kind of felt like the mentality, kind of like pressure. So I don't know if it's just because he was there and like he was just having a really good time, and maybe didn't take me as serious as he should have, or I don't know what it is exactly. But kind of
Yeah,
like realizing, yeah, go ahead.
I think it's, when you talk about a guy like Jesse Taylor, this is a guy who's undefeated on the Ultimate Fighter. He has the most wins. He's 7-0. He went to the finals in his first season when he was on there, which I think was season 7. Had a blow up, a famous blow up on the reality show, and basically got kicked off. Okay, so that sucks, right? Especially when you kind of bring it on yourself, then it's even worse. Like you just self-sabotaged, right? Yeah. Came back to the redemption season many years later and won that. Fought in the UFC here and there. Was really one of the guys who I think is just undervalued. Like his career is not appreciated as much as it should be. And I think, one of the hard things for athletes is when you start getting older, it's just like Father Time is going to get everybody. There's no getting, it's like the last guy that gets you, and it's hard to see when it's happening, but it's not as hard for somebody that's spectating or is just a objective observer to see it. The problem with athletics is you never know which performance is going to be the one when you start your decline, because you're fighting, you're doing good, you're winning, you're competitive, and then there's a slip up, and there's a slip up, and then before you know it, you're questioning yourself. And I think that's probably a pretty common pattern for most guys that are fighting in their late 30s and early 40s. Like it's not the same. And I think it is a little bit easier to break because your body just can't do what you think it should be doing, and now you have to reconcile that.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's definitely that. Like he has 10 more years of putting oil through the machine, and just like the wear and tear, and it does build up. And he's wrestled his whole life, and he's got all the back, all the neck, all the excuses.
Right.
He has every excuse in the book, but he wouldn't. He didn't use any of that. He's just coming still to show up and just try to tap into what he knows he has inside of him. And there's a lot of respect in that and honor in that. So he gave me a platform, and I'm really grateful for that, that he would take the match.
You mentioned something that caught my attention, which is understanding your why. What is your why?
Yeah, I would normally connect it directly to brotherhood and getting in with like men and just like tapping into like what is like real true masculinity, like why are we fighting each other, what are we doing, like it's a real kind of like gay looking sport, and
It really is.
but yeah, and it's just you get really close with people, and it's a good way to break down stigmas and barriers and stuff like that. So that would probably be the main thing, and how we treat women and like how women are doing, and then women join the sport, and it's like, okay, then there's this like modge podge of it's just really relationship is kind of like what I'm looking at first and foremost, but it kind of extends off into different things that I'm interested in, and like natural ways of healing and more like a go back to what the basics, and just like getting back to the fundamentals of health. And I have like a pretty strong connection to like holistic medicine and stuff like that, because I had a brother who overdosed and was addicted to opioids, so like that kind of stuff is still real to this day. Like I have high school wrestlers that struggle with it, and it's deep. It's like, you got to open up, you got to give men an opportunity to like connect with other men and like open up and share the crap that you're going through.
Yeah.
Why do you think that this style of martial art is so therapeutic for men and like creates so much brotherhood for men? It's really amazing, something to me. It's something that I don't really experience in other aspect of my life. I don't know about yourself.
Because it's fun, I think it's because it's fun. I mean, it's like chess, it's a game, but like then there's this element of it that it's like, so personal, and you can just like level up in so many different ways, and forever really you can
Yeah.
continue to like find different ways to get better and stuff like that. So I think most men can connect to that.
Do you feel that they just don't feel like they're growing and leveling up in other aspects of their life, like through their job or?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think that their jobs serve that purpose as well. Um, I think the other thing is like it is difficult, and there's maybe a lack of difficulty and a lack of like getting out of your comfort zone,
Mm,
maybe in this day and age. So that's another thing where it's like, um, we're constantly kind of like holding each other accountable and pushing each other, and we're trying to kill each other and strangle each other, and it does kind of seem more primal. And so I think the more we can connect to primal and have fun and be in flow, like mental stuff is going to lie. I think like your body, mind, and soul start to like, you know, come into resonance a little bit more. And then I think you're getting closer to like your why. Like why do I even roll jiu-jitsu? Like why do I
mhm.
do this job? Like why do I hang out with these types of people? Like why do I eat this way? I feel like shit here. Like,
Yeah,
or like, I feel great. Like just kind of makes you optimize a lot of different things.
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, one of the things that was a hook for me when I started jujitsu that really I think was the first kind of tangible benefit that I got from it was that it was so honest in that I couldn't fake my way through any of the moves or anything like that because we trained every night and you could either do it or you couldn't. And if you couldn't, you had to tap. There was no like bullshitting your way through it. You couldn't be like, yeah, this or, it's just that's where it was. And I think we need that honesty, that kind of reconciliation every day where we're balancing the books and we're going, this is where I'm at. And in jiu-jitsu, we have the opportunity to do it with other people who are doing the same thing. At work, if you come out and basically give yourself up for your failure at work, you might lose your job, or you might confide in somebody who then talks shit about you and doesn't actually help you. So I think people are a little more guarded in their everyday life, but when they get on the mats, there's almost like a different thing that happens for them. And I think that's why, and I don't think it's just jiu-jitsu. I think all the grappling martial arts are very difficult to do, and it's very like body on body. There's no hiding.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it does something for us, and we kind of get hooked on it. Like you're saying, it almost becomes a ritual, and it becomes less about the moves and more about the relationships and the experience.
Yeah, and also like think of artistic expression too. Like it is a form of like you can look at it in that way too, where it's like this outlet of like it's sort of a dance with another person. You are like in essence like creating something, and that's what I think of it as more so when I compete. It's like especially like one on one, where a lot of people are watching like at Subversive. It's like you're there to demonstrate your skill, everything that's culminated to that point, and like dance with another person. And if that person's like game, then you cooperate and create this really cool thing, and people are like loving it.
Speaking about that, you're kind of alluding to a point I think that is getting driven home more with athletes in the grappling world, and that is you're performing. You're on a stage with someone else, and there's a group of people who have paid to watch you. It may be broadcasted out. There's a whole event built around your performance. And I want to ask you, as an athlete that's going through this right now, is it a challenge to put yourself in that state versus I don't want to lose, right? Because there's a type of performer that, especially early on, where whatever you're doing, you go on stage and your primary thought is, I don't want to fuck up and look stupid in front of all these people, which doesn't lend itself to a great performance. It really doesn't.
No,
But
because you're focused on it, then you're the fear is almost driving your actions, instead of this like sort of like love for the ability to do it, or the chance to be out on the stage, or the chance to be with your teammates and your friends and your family is there and they're watching, and like it's not a love, and you gotta kind of like, again, like having it attached to your why, and like I know that my high school wrestlers are watching this. I know that, my parents are watching this. I know that my family's watching this. It's like representation of my hometown. It's like I fucking love my hometown. I love where I come from and all this stuff. So it's like, as soon as you start thinking about, and it's easy when you're in this type of profession because you can get hurt, and you can,
Yeah.
have a fucking rib injury that makes you feel like I can't go live, I can't go hard, like, that's fear, starts to creep in, and it's like, it happens to everyone, and it's like one of those things that, if you're condition yourself and practice to like detach yourself from outcomes and just focus on what are the wins. So like going to an event like Subversive is just a win-win because I trained hard and I showed up and I performed, and there's attention, and there's, if I'm just ready to perform the best I can, and do that out of like a love for doing it, then I know I'm going to show up and do my best. And the outcome, like, everybody wants to win. That's always the desire. So, it's just, you just let it happen. If that's what's meant to be, you let it happen. It's a win.
How do you handle it though when it's meant to be for you to lose?
Yeah, you kind of have to like alchemize it into, what's the silver lining, what did I
Yeah.
learn here? Because this was, never the end. Did I get out of it with an injury? Did I get injured? Well, what's the injury? Where did it come from? Okay, well, let's address that. Let's address what, put me in that position. Or did I get out of it with an injury? Was it a great match and people loved it? Like, there's a win in that. Like, you got to work on finishing or something like that, or like maybe have a different game plan the next time. But I feel like it all builds into something.
What is it building into for you in terms of jiu-jitsu, for lack of a better word, accomplishments? Is there
Yeah.
something you're after?
Yeah, it's been one of those things that I've been wrestling with a lot lately. There are definitely words and titles that I've sort of like maybe been fixated on, but my practice has really been to kind of release myself from those attachments, because I think that, anything can happen, but you're also like a captain of the ship. So for me, it's like I think better things happen when I just stay more centered in like where I'm at right now. Um, and although there are like, again, like words like I would throw around in my head, like world champion, national champion, those things are very like kind of elusive titles. State champion, elusive, Um, and I think if I've learned anything throughout my entire career since I like really started, I mean, it started when I was 6 years old wrestling, but it's like competition and like learning that process. It's like, it really is just the love of the game. So it's like, I feel like the sky is the limit, or, even further if I just kind of like continue to detach from it. So it's just like, do the best that I can now. And, um, world titles, ADCC titles, organizations that I want to, fight for one. There are definite things that I'm like talking about and definitely speaking about in a positive way, or in a way that like is expressing what I want. It's like where I'm
Yeah.
going, the people I'm after, like the people I'm interested in talking to, the community I'm interested in building, like it's coming together. But it's, one of those things that it's just like, I can kind of see it all coming together, but it's like I still have like the daily things to just kind of focus on. So it's this interesting, like I feel like it's great. What it is it's like it's greatness. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
fucking sick.
I mean, it's funny how jujitsu kind of teaches us that, right? Like if I'm trying to force like a sweep or something, it's going to be extremely difficult. But if I'm like zen and in the moment with it, it's almost like that same idea that you're able to link both.
Flow, yeah, it's very fluid and flowy, and it's, you also do have to pay attention. You have to like really know yourself and like be intuitive and like know how you work best. And it's like self-discovery. And if jiu-jitsu does anything, it like teaches you a lot about who you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good and bad, you know,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it always makes me laugh because every once in a while you come across the people that only exaggerate the good, and you almost have to go like, you're not that good, you know.
Yeah.
Most people focus on what they do bad, and that's kind of in the forefront of their mind. That's the story they tell themselves. That's the that's what's driving their state of mind throughout the day. And these same people have goals that they want to get to, but they have a lot of doubts about the goals. And you can never achieve a goal that way. You won't win if you don't think you can win. You're not going to win. There's something about the brain is everything that we see in front of us was an idea in somebody's head at one time, and eventually came to fruition and became a physical, actual thing. But they had to believe that that was possible to do in the first place. And I think that's a hard thing for a lot of athletes that come up, especially in jiu-jitsu, because the learning curve is really steep. Unless you have like a wrestling background already, then you kind of don't have to go through the break-in. You're already in. There's no like, oh, it's hard on my body. It's just now it's like I got to learn how to grapple from maybe a different set of positions with a slightly different focus. But when you just come into jiu-jitsu as like a 23-year-old dude who's never grappled, and you get on the mats and you just do warm-ups, you're dead. Your body's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? You know,
I mean, I remember the beginning. I decided to get into jiu-jitsu at 31.
Brave.
it's hard, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't think you can do it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard to get athletes in the right mindset to be able to accomplish that with all of the other distractions that are out there. And I think when the money comes in a big way, then it's going to be even more distraction. It's going to be even more chasing of that carrot out there that people have their eyes on.
Yeah. I think that's why it's good to have a really like strong why. It's like I've almost like come into this state where it's like I almost want to like continue to like how I visualize and pray. It's like prepare for that level of responsibility, of fame, of influence, or whatever. It's like if that is really what I am and like what I'm destined for, then like I need a lot of preparing, and that can come through failure, that can come through loss. So it's like when I do lose, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, cool, this was meant to be. It's like that whole Jocko thing, good. You know, it's like and then it is the lesson that you were meant to learn. So it's like I think you do pull yourself in closer to you know, those goals. And I think we just need to keep creating new goals, and based on like what we want, and like trusting that what we want is in alignment with, you know, what we're here to do. You know, is like, what are we here to do and learn?
How important is it to fail in your grappling? I think what I mean by that is sometimes there's a culture of you can't lose. Like, I'm not going to get tapped. I'm going to get on the mats tonight. No one's going to tap me, versus a mindset that goes like, I'm going to try a bunch of stuff and I'm going to see what works, and maybe some shit's not going to work and I'm going to work on it. And that means I might end up in these bad spots and get beat by people that I think I'm better than, or maybe that I am better than, but I don't really care because I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I think they're, you know, just as important as like winning in any lesson. Like I think it's like yin and yang, you need both, but to find like some sort of like balance. But then again, like we're doing it to win, and so you do want to minimize the losses as best you can.
Right.
And it's just like I don't like to get stuck in analyzing too much, and I can do that when I lose. You know, you're losing a bunch, you're going to start to analyze and fixate, you know, and like, or you're going to you're going to feel that pull to or whatever. But honestly, like I think you can come back that just by like being active. Like that's one thing I just like to keep competing, like keep competing. And like it really is like you can do that in the room, you know. It doesn't have to be like a match, it doesn't have to look like a specific way, but you can just like can continue to like create those atmospheres of competing. And I think that's one thing that like growing up on wrestling teams, and then going to jiu-jitsu, and then finding an MMA gym, and then finding, you know, going from maybe like another jiu-jitsu gym or two, you know, it's like and then the Marine Corps too. It's like there's always constant like competing, but it's really like, you know, you're competing against yourself, and like you're just kind of like comparing yourself to other people, and like I just, so there's always levels of failure and always levels of like success in that, but it's just like you're always going to fail and you're always going to win. I think that's just like something that constantly is on cycle, but you just want to optimize. You just want to learn. You want to learn it. Yeah, you want to learn from your mistakes.
Taking it back to the military grappling, what is that like competing in that? I imagine these guys are just out to like murder each other all the time. Like,
yeah.
what's that like?
Just think Captain America, all of us. No, it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, like the short amount of time, the like 3 months I got to spend with like all of the like team that it was as they worked together, it was like, dang, like I can get really good here really fast. Like my gi jujitsu, my judo, like all that stuff got so much better just wrestling Greco for 3 months with those guys. Like
Yeah.
like that's where I like first earned my cauliflower ear. Like I actually hadn't gotten any cauliflower ear all through college, and then it was like wrestling 3 months with the Greco team that I got like both my ears blew up. So it just like it was just kind of funny. Like they're just tough dudes, good dudes. And it was really disappointing. But like there's a couple guys on the team that wrestled for the Naval Academy. How Johnny Stefanowicz, was like a staff sergeant and like hadn't, he was a really good wrestler in high school, and his brother is Chance Marsteller, who made the world team. Like, but Johnny was a Marine and then just like came back, got an opportunity to wrestle and made the Olympics. Like,
Wow.
like his story is insane. And then Ray Bunker, same kind of thing. Joined the Marine Corps, tried to do some amateur MMA, but like they made him a world team member. Like, it's just these guys from nowhere, and they're just tough, gritty dudes, and you can find that in the Marine Corps. So, and then wrestling at the Armed Forces Championship was really cool. We went out to base Kitsap in Washington, and wrestled the Air Force. Me and Freeman were part of the Navy as Marine officers because the Marine Corps falls under the Navy. Wrestled. There was a lieutenant from the Space Force on the Air Force's team. Like,
What?
yeah.
Hell
and
yeah.
There's no grappling.
And then we
in
wrestled the
space.
Army, man. And there's actually a reel on my Instagram of me wrestling a Division III national champ from the Army, and he was like really well known. It was a really good match for me, and I teched him.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
Sick.
If you had to pick between freestyle, Greco, and folk style for no gi jiu-jitsu or even gi jiu-jitsu, what do you think is the most valuable?
If I was doing it for me and I was going to train, I would focus on Greco-Roman. There's a lot of value in folk style and freestyle and getting to leg attacks, for sure to know how to get to leg attacks. But honestly, the more I understood Greco and hand fighting, the more I was able to like really modify my shot so that I wasn't getting overextended and getting caught in front headlocks. And like, because a lot of people like to shoot from way far away, whereas for me, I like to be really up and close. I like to be really close, and be hand fighting. So I think Greco-Roman's pretty awesome for learning gi jiu-jitsu, like upper body, like bear. Like this is where the free bear hug stuff comes from. It's like I got really good at bear hugs. Like I can grab somebody and like they just have a good squeeze. It's like I'm trying to perfect from turtle position to crack some ribs.
Oh,
just so
he
like,
made the sound effect. Click, 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 click.
It's just it gets your hands really strong, it gets your upper body really strong, your neck really strong, and then you can start to learn how to throw people. And I just think it's really valuable. I mean, folk style is going to be really good for learning how to like ride and take back and stuff like that. There's just a lot of riding time, a lot of like, that's where I learned how to hand fight, or like that's really how I learned how to ride very well. Like if I take the back, I know how to put legs in. I know how to like pin people. Like that's all folk style. I know how to hold people in side control. I know how to hold people in scarf hold and Keskatami and stuff. Like it's all on how to pin somebody and keep somebody pinned to the ground. And then freestyle like is the most fun to watch. Obviously, it's like the Olympic version of it, and I enjoy freestyle a lot right now. Like I really do like the leg attacks. I really do like, it's like a combination of jiu-jitsu, Greco, and folk style for me. It's like it just gets really creative and whatnot. I wrestled freestyle at the last US Open and wrestled against a Penn State wrestler And I don't know how much you know about wrestling culture, but
Penn State's a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're like the Alabama or like whatever. So
Yeah.
of NCAA football, and so yeah, they had an Olympic champ in their corner. You know, I'm blanking. Jake Varner was the guy coaching against me, and then I had my college roommate, who's a strongman. He's a strongman competitor.
He's got his shirt off.
Seriously,
You said
awesome.
something that piqued my interest about Greco, in that you learned how to hand fight. And I think this, and I don't know if this is true, but I think the closing of the gap between two stand-up people, like two competitors, they're standing and they're not connected to each other in any way yet, right? They're just approaching that ability to close that distance and hand fight intelligently has huge influence over what's going to happen in terms of if you're going to put yourself in a position to get a takedown or a trip, or if you're going to get taken down. I think the tendency to want to shoot from far away is because there's a little bit of a uncomfortability with closing that gap and making first contact. And Greco, you don't have a choice like that. You can't grab the legs.
Right.
So you have to make contact. You have to be comfortable in that contact. And I think it gives you a leg up in that initial, like, boom, the ref says, are you ready? Are you ready? Go. And now you got to close distance and go. And in a lot of matches, at least the standing part of the grappling match is lost and won in that moment where one guy goes, fuck, what am I going to do? Like,
totally.
what, you know?
Totally. So, yeah. Greco's definitely the hardest. It's the most difficult of the three, for sure. What's
coming up next for you, Jared?
I have another like ADCC style match next Friday in Detroit. It's lights out promotion. I've got a black belt opponent from Detroit Assembly, another DD214 athlete. So he's I believe he's an Army medic, retired Army medic. So I'm gonna have a really good match there. That's a good matchup. He's really explosive and he's a good wrestler. And then just like experienced black belt. I mean, I'm a purple belt. I've only been doing this for like 6 years. So, but it's gonna be cool to see like how our wrestling matches up and like the aggressive styles and stuff. And just a really good match for me to get kind of like more into and on the Michigan like grappling scene, because I'm up north and like we do a pretty good job in Traverse City. But a lot of the, bigger jiu-jitsu gyms are down in Detroit and Grand Rapids.
How far is Detroit from where you're at?
4 hours. So,
okay. So it's a little bit of a shot.
Yeah.
How much, you mentioned Sleeping Bear Jiu-Jitsu. I'm assuming that's kind of what you do like during the day. But I wanted to ask you, is someone that's making a living off this, I assume, I don't know if you have other things you do, but how big of a challenge is it to move into professional grappling?
Definitely a big challenge. I mean, you really just have to decide you're a pro. I don't know if you guys know who Steven
It's the easiest time to go pro is right now.
Yeah, it's Steven. I mean, listen, if there's anyone out there struggling with this, it's like you just have to decide that's what you want, and if it is, go, and then you're a pro. Like you just decide. I mean, technically, the first time you make money is when you're like technically a professional, but like, it was a concept Stephen Pressfield kind of like put in my head, and I decided in college, like, I'm going to be a professional. Okay, I'm a professional, and I'm going to act like a professional, and so there is that aspect that's hard for people to accept and like be comfortable calling themselves a professional. But I mean, I did that while I was in the Marine Corps too, which in some ways, like, kind of felt like I was, not putting my all into it, even though it complemented it in a lot of ways. Like I kind of made that decision out of pressure, forcing things, a little bit of fear of like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And ultimately it was the right decision. I did the thing, I did it, and I benefited from it, and I made the best of it, and I don't, regret it at all. I'm very grateful for it, but it is also a very, hard choice, like to go into the military, go into the Marine Corps especially. So You know, had a lot of pain teachers there and whatnot. But once I decided I was getting out of the Marine Corps, and like really the last year and a half, when I was consistently going to tournaments to wrestle for the Marine Corps, that's when I was like, damn, I'm getting paid a lieutenant's salary. I'm getting per diem. Like I'm getting, I'm getting paid to wrestle. Like that is like, it's
That's
like,
pretty
wow,
cool.
it's happening. Like, and so I kind of realized, this whole thing, the value in it, it comes from all these different like areas. So now like, um, I just like when I was in the Marine Corps doing all these, and I would go to jujitsu tournaments. I was really just networking. Like I was meeting people and making connections and like figuring out where I could stay. Figuring out figure out who to train with, all this stuff. So it's like I was building sort of a network during that time. And then when I got out, I went back to Michigan, started up a small little club thing. I was coaching wrestling at Benzie Central up here. And then, I was sort of like, I've got disability now. So it's like Marine Corps still kind of like helps me along. And then there's part-time jobs and there's just, it's just like a whole thing. It's like, it's not completely there yet, but it's, it's like I'm sustaining. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not a luxurious life, but it's like, I love it. And
Yeah.
I have people around me that I love, and like, it's, it's just how it should be. And it's great. And, it's like working to understand how it all works and how you can make this a sustainable thing. It's like the
Yeah.
whole process.
I was listening to Dave Porter on my buddy Drew Foster's podcast, Neon Belly, and he said, you have to trust the process, not the product. Like we get hung up on the end result, but that's not the end is not what's going to get us there. It's the process, which is easy to say when you're not right in the thick of it. Like when you're right in it and you're like, dude, I'm making just enough to survive, but not enough to really do anything else. But like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
A lot of people, you're like halfway is the hardest part to be in. It's tough. But
Yeah.
if you believe in what you're doing, and I think there's some truth to what Stephen Pressfield says, is that like you become pro and you decide that you're pro, and you just become pro. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get paid a professional salary yet.
Yeah, and you got to kind of keep talking to yourself in that way. It's like you got to keep deciding it. That's what endurance is. That's what commitment is. Like you kind of just continue. Like when it gets tough, that's when you have to recommit. Keep that conversation going in your head, that narrative in your head, and just trust the process. Like know what you are and be confident in that, and then it's just like it gets easier, it gets better, you get stronger, you flex that muscle. It's like then you're a pro. It's like, damn, I'm getting paid millions right now, like so it's
Speaking of getting paid, PGF season 7 is coming up right around the corner. $100,000 to the team that wins, and then $20,000 additional to the individual tournament winner.
Yeah, man. I actually meant to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Las Vegas is what, next Saturday?
For the qualifiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the 28th.
So I have my fight on the 27th, and I was looking at flights out of Detroit that night, and I was just like, can I do that? Like, it's like, should I do that? And I was like, I should ask Tim. Like, it's kind of last second. It's something wild enough that I would do, but I also just like, I don't really know a lot about PGF. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not a great jiu-jitsu nerd fan. Like, I don't really pay attention. I have so many things I like, and right, it's like when stuff like this pops up, I'm like, damn, like I could have known about this. I could have planned for this. Like, what am I thinking?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. So it's a season, and it's geared like a sport in the sense that there's a season, and the season starts on Sunday, and they have a draft, and there's 4 coaches, and there's 20 athletes, and they have these legendary coaches. Last season they had Jean-Jacques Machado, Higan Machado, Dean Lister, and Hodger Gracie. They were the coaches.
Dang, that's wild.
Okay, so they basically have an auction draft. Each athlete comes up, and they have a certain amount of dollars to bid on these athletes. Obviously, it's not real dollars, but and they draft a team, and then in essence, you have a duel meet between the 4 teams. Each team fights each team each night for the first 4 days, okay, or the first 4 nights. And you accumulate points by getting a submission, which is worth, how's that work? I think it's worth 3 points, and a kill is worth 6, and a kill is a choke. So any kind of choke or strangle is valued as a higher level submission, with the idea that that would be the end of it in a real fight. You could totally kill somebody. Any other kind of submission is 3 points. There's a couple other ways to score like 1 point. Like if you get an additional point if you get a submission within a minute, something like that. Anyway, the team that wins the most team battles on day 4, by day 4, that team gets $100,000. So each guy gets 20 grand. Now, they take the top 8 point scorers on all the teams. So every time you get a submission or you get a choke, those totals are your personal totals, and they accumulate. The top 8 scorers have a tournament on the last day on Friday, and at that tournament, whoever wins gets an additional $20,000. And so it's awesome. What I can tell you, this is my take on what really separates the PGF from any other grappling promotion anywhere in the world. You've never done anything like this, and it doesn't exist. It only exists at the PGF, and this is why. You have to fight 3 times a night for the first 4 nights, no matter what. Because you're on a team and you're fighting 3 other teams and you're having 3 matches a night. So you come out hot. Maybe you kick someone's ass the first match. The second match, you get your ass kicked. You got to come out like 30 minutes later and fight again.
Yeah.
And you have another match. Maybe it's a war. You come back tomorrow, you got to fight again. You get your ass kicked. You got to come out 30 minutes later and fight again. You got to. So it by day 3, you start to see guys that came out hot and looked like they couldn't be beat on Monday, and on Wednesday, they're 50% of what they were. So it's very much an Iron Man as well. So you have to really be durable and be intelligent about how you're grappling and what you're doing. And really, it's about the performance. It's a TV product. It's a TV show. It's meant to entertain. It's super high production value. And they're giving away a lot of money, and there's a lot of exposure. So, it's free to enter the qualifiers. So they won't charge you for that. The hardest part is going to be getting on that plane and getting out to Vegas on time. But I would say this. You don't have to win the qualifiers to be brought on, at least if they bring you in as an alternate. And that's not a bad thing, because several of the main 20 drafted athletes will drop out by the last day. Guys get hurt, guys get injured, they can't fight, then the alternate takes their place.
Wasn't it 4 or 5 of them in the first day or 2?
I think it was a few. Yeah. There was some injuries pretty quick. And so there's always the ability to do that. What the PGF is looking for is people that are entertaining and exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you have a 50-50 fight record. If the fans resonate with you and you're charismatic, then they want you there. And I really like that, because I think that helps build the sport in a more mass way. That, if we really want this to grow, then we need 50 million people to see it. And 50 million people are not going to watch ADCC. They're just not going to do it. We're going to do it because we love it. They're not going to do it. But they'll watch PGF. They'll watch something that they can understand, that's sportified and gamified, and there's points and there's standings and there's stats. Like, that's what they want. So that's what the PGF is. So I would say if you're thinking about doing it, fucking do it.
Yeah. I feel like I was like rolling it over in my head the other day. I'm like, oh, this could work. I guess there's a flyout here. Like, fuck, okay. Am I really going to do this?
205? Can you make 205?
Yeah. No, that's what my fight is on Friday. I walk around at like 207. Money.
Dude, your money.
All right, I'm going to do it.
Dude.
You heard it here.
There is a
hell yes.
There is a Spirit flight I just found, 7 a.m. to 8:34 a.m. from Detroit to
You
Dude,
can't
book
put
it
this
for me.
man on
I'll
a
pay you
Spirit
back.
flight.
I'll pay you back. Book it. Book it.
It's only 4.5 hours, and it's only $159.
That flight will get canceled.
Right.
This is a Spirit flight.
Yeah.
You got to go with a more stable airline, man. You
Those
got to
are
go.
all over a day of travel with connections.
My
Yeah,
man,
book it.
you'll figure it out. But if you're thinking about doing it, I mean, man,
I would love to see you. in
this is the
PGF,
time to
man.
do it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
draft you. I want a big boy
You're not
team.
wrong. You're not wrong.
I'm going to text Brandon McCaffrey tonight. Tell him,
All right.
my boy Jared Fakete's coming out to Vegas, and I'm putting you guys on notice.
All right.
Hell
Chill.
yeah. Man, I'm excited for you, dude. Thanks for coming on tonight. It was a real pleasure watching you and the way you conducted yourself over the weekend and seeing you grapple. You grappled a legend, you know, and dude, I didn't know a lot about you coming into it. I did some research, but I thought you were going to have a much harder time. I really did. But when I saw the bear skin, I was like, I don't know, man. This guy might know something I don't know. But
Bold move.
yeah, bold move, man. But it was a real pleasure getting a chance to hang out with you a bit Saturday night and chat. And I think you're going to do big things, man. I think you're in a good spot. And anything we could do to help you out, please let us know, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's really an honor to be on. Thanks.
Tell our listeners how they can find you.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram's nice. I mean, fucking Google me, I guess. But Fakete JJ, and yeah, hit me up.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jared. Have a good one, brother.
Great talking to you, man.
Peace.
We'll talk
Yeah,
soon.
likewise.
We'll see you. Dude, I think that Jared should definitely go
With that bear, with
to
that
Las
bear
Vegas.
coat,
Dude, man,
it's fucking sick.
dude.
That's not getting past Spirit Customs.
You can't bring that on the plane.
You can check it. You can check
Sir,
it.
you can't have no bear.
Dude, this guy, he's
That
a
was a
stud.
white guy, by the way. That was just my voice for a white guy.
He's a stud.
Yeah, he is. That was a great match.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if you're watching on the Instagram feed, you know what, Bree? Yes, Bree just left a comment. Is there any opportunities for women in PGF this year? I don't think it's this year, but I know there are plans to try to do it. They need to find enough ladies that will get out there and do it. They have had super fights though. I know that just forgot her name, man. From Decatur. We appreciate you too, Jared. You guys know who I'm talking about. She's the champ.
Micaiah.
Yes.
Micaiah.
Yeah. She's the champ. So definitely she has super fights all the time. She just goes out there and just fucks people
Yeah,
up.
she just slays people.
Slays them and then walks off. She's like all
Savage.
business for her. She's super nice too.
I mean,
Sweet
it's,
girl.
it's like you said,
Yeah.
like the time to get into pro is right now, and even
now.
and for women, like
Dude,
man, if you
it's
can,
yours, dude.
yeah, it's yours for the taking.
Dude, I would love Bree to get out there. Bree Stick is one of the instructors in Stockton.
Yeah,
And she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's on the USA wrestling team. She's a fucking savage. Yeah, she's really good, dude.
Kaya, by the way.
Kaya. Yeah.
Not Micaiah. Kaya.
Yeah, Kaya. Apologize, Kaya. That was Andrew's brain lapse, not mine.
yeah.
Yeah. I admitted I didn't know. I didn't make something up.
I
I've
admitted
met
I
her
didn't
once
know
and she
your
was
name.
lovely.
No, she's a great girl. So have you guys seen the Contender Series at all?
On and off.
Very little, very little.
So in the beginning, I don't know what my problem is, and I was the same way when I watched The Ultimate Fighter the first season, even though I was thinking about doing jiu-jitsu around that time, and it did push me over the edge. I'm like, I'm going to go do it. So I'm one of those guys. I thought it was set up. I thought the fighters weren't like good fighters. I thought, oh, this is a reality show like
Right.
all the other dumb reality shows back then. I thought that's what it was. And they just got scrubs that were like bullshit guys. And they were going to be like, you win a chance to be in the UFC. I didn't know that they were pulling in guys that were actually fighters that had fights already and they had experience. And they were basically going to do a tournament, but in the guise of a reality show. And that guy was going to get a contract in the UFC. It took me a while to suss that out. So in the beginning, I watched it, but I'm kind of like, I don't know. And I kind of did the same thing to Dana White Contender Series. I was like, is this just something they're trying to do to like
Some gimmick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just too. I am
You're
too
too jaded.
too jaded. I'm too cynical. I'm trying
Yeah.
not to be cynical. So I started watching it last season because I noticed a lot of the really good fighters in the UFC right now came through
Right.
Contender Series.
Right.
Mhm.
Sean O'Malley
Yeah.
being one of them. And so I started watching it last season, and I've been watching it. And so last night I put it on because it comes on Tuesday nights, but ESPN's like, when it ends, you can't, it's not available for on demand yet.
Right.
You got to like give it some time. So I put it on last night, and I got really upset watching it, like super pissed. And I wanted to run this by you guys and see what you think.
Okay.
So there were two fighters. Let me see if I could pull up their names just to give them a little bit of love. This was, I guess, on the 17th. Let me find the fight card. Yeah, here we go. This fight was not Benjamin Bennett. It was, sorry guys, I'm looking it up.
Good.
If you're watching us on Instagram, you got about 4 minutes until they kick us off.
Yeah, and once they kick us off, you're going to have to jump over to YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Stay live over there.
Yeah.
3 minutes. Excuse me.
We're like counting them down. Okay, this was Ahmad Hassanzada against, no, was this right? Yeah. You know what? I can't remember the dudes, which is
Okay.
kind of lame. But anyway, let me tell you what happened.
All right.
Basically, maybe it was Benjamin Bennett versus Joey Hart. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Guy's kind of not. No, that wasn't it. The guy's kind of not winning.
Okay.
Right? He's the other guy's getting the better of him. He gets taken down, guard passed immediately. Dude goes to side control. Almost so much that it looked like, wow, that was too easy. Well, it was too easy. Immediately he throws a buggy choke on. And it's a solid buggy choke. And the dude is in the buggy choke. He's trying to get his forearm in front and like pride, but he's not really. He's throwing some little baby shots, but he's not doing any damage, and he's still in the choke.
Right.
Which, you know, like the longer you're in that, it's like not too great, right?
Yeah.
The referee gets impatient with the position and stands him up. He stops it and he
Damn.
stands him up. And it annoyed me because the announcers didn't, as far as I can remember, unless I missed it, they did not identify it as a buggy choke, which they have to know what a buggy choke is. And they basically agreed with the ref. Like, oh, he was stalling in that position.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I forgot what fight a while back in the UFC, but like some dude threw up a buggy choke, and nobody knew what it was except for Rogan,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, that's a buggy choke," and they were like, "A buggy choke? What the hell is that?"
Right.
So I'm pretty sure, but it is fucked up to stand him up because it's like, imagine you had a figure four on a Kimura,
Mm-hmm.
and like you're coming up on that.
yeah.
You know, and then it's like, well, you've been trying this Kimura for too long. Get up.
Yeah,
You know?
you've been on the back trying to RNC this guy too long.
Yeah.
You've been holding the heel hook too long. Like, it ain't going to work. Do something else.
But if the ref doesn't recognize the sub attempt, then it's not.
But that's the problem, is that the ref didn't recognize it as a sub attempt.
I feel like if there's something going on in a match, some particular type of martial art, the ref should be familiar with that martial art. Not to say this guy wasn't, but I mean, buggy chokes are pretty popular enough now that, like you said, you should know what it is.
I mean, all over, because I know it was like a big 10p place. I mean,
it's not even a 10. It's
not
a
10p
Ralph Gracie
move,
guy.
right? It's not a 10p move, but I'm just saying, like 10p really liked it.
We did.
Yeah, they kind of like tried to commandeer it
We have
more
white
or
belts.
less.
We have white belts
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I want to get his name right. It's Austin Hart is the dude that created it. He's Deep Sage Is on Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it's a real
It's a real sub.
technique.
Yeah.
And the guy didn't really complain, which I think he should have. He didn't go like, yo, you just took me out of a submission.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, dude?
Mm.
And there was time on the clock. So it
Maybe it was still new to them even. Like he's just kind of seeing it at the gym a few times. Well, I don't know.
When would this have happened?
this was on Tuesday night.
Like live? Like that's when it happened?
Yeah.
They should absolutely know what it is by now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's look, MMA is no-gi grappling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
With
So
punching.
How can nobody know what it is? I was surprised that nobody identified it.
Yeah, I'd have
I'm going to go back and check it out now, but I'm almost positive nobody identified it.
Yeah.
been upset.
I would have been livid, dude.
Yeah.
That's just bad.
Yeah.
Bad reffing. Speaking of no-gi jiu-jitsu, Crone Gracie came out and said some really hilarious, mean things about guys that only train no-gi jiu-jitsu.
Oh shit.
Have you guys seen this?
No.
So we now all only train no-gi jiu-jitsu. We're going to be a little biased with these
Yeah.
remarks, huh?
Well, he stirred it up. He said, guys, this is what he said on social media. He said, guys who only train no-gi are the same guys that would get drunk, make out with their buddy, and claim they aren't gay, and probably wear a crossbody fanny pack.
Well,
He's right about it.
yeah, I'm not even mad.
Here's the thing, though. We already make a bunch of gay jokes about us training
that's
jiu-jitsu.
what-
So
That's the
Crone
thing.
doing it doesn't
Yeah,
like.
it doesn't
yeah.
matter.
That's old hat.
I expect him to make some kind of comment like that.
Yeah, if
He's a
any-
Gracie. Like,
If anyone that knows me has looked at my stories, they know that I'm constantly commenting on how gay it is.
I think that, and I might get flamed for this, but I think there is
Funny
an
you said flame.
underlying principle to the jiu-jitsu that the Gracies, not all of them, but many of them, Crone for sure, Hickson, Horian, all those, that whole Elio branch, that they are aware of that not everybody else is. And I don't mean it like they have a secret.
Mhm.
I mean it like they have a particular perspective that is lost on most of the grapplers.
mhm.
This is what I think. And I think it's a very jiu-jitsu perspective, very jiu-jitsu, not no-gi grappling, be on top, control, pin, smash. It's not that. And I think they're really good at it, and some of that lesson is being lost. And I think that's why they feel threatened. Or not, maybe threatened's the wrong word, but that's why they're outspoken. And it's undeniable.
Do you feel that maybe that's why they feel insulted even?
I don't know. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe. And maybe there is a little bit of like, hey, this is our thing. You can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is some of that, you know. But there's certain things about jiu-jitsu, especially jiu-jitsu like off your back, that are very mechanical, that they understand that is not understood everywhere. A lot of people teach moves and they know why the particular move works, but they don't necessarily know anything beyond that. So, and I think it's hard to articulate, especially if you are dual language. It's not easy. I think they've had a difficult time articulating what they're saying, and it comes across sometimes as like you can't connect it to anything that relates to you, so it just kind of goes like this. Like when Hickson says, so much so that Hickson started saying it was invisible jiu-jitsu, but I think really what he meant is this is very difficult to articulate jiu-jitsu, so it feels invisible because it's hard to put it into words. But if I could put you in a position and like do these things, there's a chance you might feel it. And then once you feel it, you'll get it. I think there's truth to that. Structures, the way you frame, the way your structure is, the way you base. There's things that there's just nobody talks about them. Some people do, but it's not that many. And a lot of the guys that talk about them are considered, oh, he's a nerd. I don't want to listen to some guy fucking talk about this dumb shit.
I mean,
show me moves, monkey.
What do you mean? Just like the basic principles of like how to stand up or how to fight off your back?
Well, I
or
think they're
just-
related to actual structures. Like the way we build buildings, the way
Oh, I see.
we can hold weight under load, the way we can move objects around. All those lessons that happen outside in the physical world, those physics apply to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is we're also the machine that's moving the machine,
Yeah.
right? We're moving ourselves, and then we're moving this other thing that's rapidly in real time trying to adjust to what you're doing. And I think that there's certain positional structures they just understand.
Mm.
And I don't know if they talk about them or not, but I don't think it's secret. There's no secret techniques, dude.
No,
No,
of course.
There's wrinkles and nuances, but you can't keep it under wraps. There's too much video. Everybody's watching everything.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you're going to try
Yeah.
and move on somebody. They're going to.
You can't see the foundation of a building.
Yeah.
You see the building, but you don't see what's underneath it. And I think that's what they see, for lack of a better way to put it.
What they have not seen is me knock you out with my chi. That's actually a secret move I can't show you.
You know, I could show you, but then it would kill you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to go to jail.
And if I
Right.
showed you how to do it, I would be responsible for you killing someone else.
Having said that, I don't know why he doesn't like just no-gi grapplers. Because if it wasn't for like just no-gi kind of dudes, like that was where Hickson cut his teeth fighting Zulu and all those dudes. Those guys were all Lucha Libre guys.
I think those are this is going to be controversial, I guess, but I think those are the advanced forms of guys that we talked about last week that get in the gi as a white belt, and they don't like no gi because they lose a lot. They don't know enough. But now they know everything in the gi, and now they still lose a little bit when they get to no gi. I don't want to call anybody out in particular, but there's a couple people that you listed that I watched. They're all way better than me and probably always will be, but I've seen them lose in no gi more than I have in gi.
Yeah, some of it is like, just like when a no-gi guy puts the gi on, there's so many nuances in the grip. There's so many nuances in the wrestling part of no-gi grappling that you don't spend enough time in the gi. The gi just kills some transitions. It just kills it. There's no transition. Like, there's material, you get stuck in the machine, and like, yeah, you technically learn things about that position, but there's some things in no-gi that you just can't do. You have to do no-gi jiu-jitsu, and that means you might get exploited on those spots. But I mean, Crone.
I mean, I don't think Crone would have a problem with no.
Oh, go watch his ADCC matches, dude, against Rafa Mendez and Marcelo Garcia. Like, it's fucking crazy good.
Yeah.
Doing fundamental basic jiu-jitsu. No kidding, dude. Like, grabbing the arm, playing open guard, like tripod style open guard, close guard, not doing anything wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, though. And then there's other dudes. There's guys like Henry Akins, he's a
I love that guy.
Hicks and Gracie black belt. And I had the opportunity to train with him one time. And I didn't know that much about him. And unfortunately, at the time, some of the people, and I was a blue belt, you know, I think maybe I had a purple belt when I trained with Henry, but as a blue belt, I was influenced quite a bit to think that, like, these Gracie guys aren't that good anymore compared to the guys out there that are competing now. Like if they went and tried to compete, they wouldn't stack up.
Yeah.
Right. And I kind of had this like, okay, well, I don't know. It's like fucking what I thought, you know, until I seen Heat on Gracie in person roll with another black belt and just let him take the most dominant mount you could get and then murder the guy with ease. Like, get out of the position. It's no problem.
Wow.
It's like not even anything. And then I started realizing, like, oh, these guys are really fucking good. They just choose not to focus on winning worlds.
Yeah.
It's not that important to them. Philosophically, worlds doesn't even line up with what they're focused on. Right? So they're good, dude. So anyway, I met Henry there. We started talking. He's like, come down and train with me in Santa Monica sometime. So I went over there, and I didn't think I was going to beat him, but I thought I was going to like be tough, you know, like I'm going to be tough. I'm like, he's going to be like, dude, you're tough. dude.
No.
He showed me some stuff, and it was so far beyond, like, conceptually, he was showing me this idea that I couldn't, it seemed simplistic and, like, not even useful to me until he did it to me, right? So he was doing this thing where he's like, look, you could pass guard without using your hands just by shifting your weight and moving around, and you get tighter and tighter, and I'm just like, okay, like, show me something from Del Hiva. You know, like, show me something cool. This is what I'm thinking because I'm a putz at the time. Not disrespecting him. I really like him. He's a fucking awesome dude. And now I know he's really awesome. But you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know? And so he's like, okay, we're practicing it, and I'm just not getting it. It just feels like something that is not real to me, you know? And he goes, all right, now I'm going to do it to you. No, hey, Egghead, you did not miss this week's bullpen. The bullpen is going to be on Fridays. Usually I think we're moving them to Fridays now. So just a heads up on that. Blake said, yeah, let me roll. What's up, Blake? Or let's do this thing I saw on YouTube. So, okay. So he goes, now I'm going to try it on you. And you could use your hands in your open guard and just defend me. And he just leans into my feet, and I have him posted up on his hips. He's like, you ready? Yeah. And he goes, okay. And it's just like, pop, pop, pop. My guard's passed. I'm just like, what? He does it again. Pass 3 or 4 times in a row. And then he goes, now I'm going to close my eyes and do it. Closes his eyes and does it. Then he goes, now I'm going to do it drunken jujitsu style. Like, and he's just like flopping and kind of like just like he's just like every fucking time. Every time. Granted, I wasn't that good. Like, I was a blue belt. I was training a lot. I think I was a purple belt, actually. But it was like not even, he didn't have to break a sweat.
Yeah.
Then he goes, now I'm going to pass your guard like Marcelo Garcia. And he just does like this Marcelo pass. And he goes, now I'm going to do it like Hoffa Mendez would do it. Does it like Hoffa. He names off like 3 or 4 guys, emulates their style, and passes my guard. Then I'm like, God damn, this guy's really good, man. Really good.
Yeah.
But he understood. He's a Hickson Gracie black belt. So
Wasn't
I'm
Henry
sure.
like one of the first batch?
Probably. He's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But he understands those principles, like that, what you don't see, very well, to where he can do this fucking drill on you that you think is nonsense, and it works like a charm. But he's also great enough at it that he can emulate all these other styles. When you think, oh, they don't do jiu-jitsu that way, they don't know how to do it. Okay, right, you know.
Yeah.
They've been training with everybody for since they were born.
Yeah.
They know how to do everything.
They're like grandmasters, and we're out here playing street chess, you know, like
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like all those dudes have been doing their whole life is proving themselves to people that say you don't know what you're doing.
right.
When Halleck came in here and trained with us,
Dude.
it was just like, Jesus, whoop my ass, man.
It,
Yeah.
it had been a long time since I'd rolled with somebody that I was like, oh, there's nothing I can do.
Just like,
this guy's being so nice to me right now.
he grabbed my arm, had a 2-hand grip, posted his foot up on my hip, and it was just like, dude, I could not clear the foot on the hip. I kept trying, but every time I over dedicated resources to it, boom.
Gotcha.
He would sweep me or do something to me. I was like, damn, dude. Chill out, Halleck. We're having a friendly roll. No, it was a friendly roll. It still
Trauma.
whooped my ass, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying all that to say that, yeah, I guess I see where Crone's coming from, but look, man,
I don't know.
we're
Give-
all playing pretend after work, so
Yeah. Give Nogi as much time as Gi Jiu-Jitsu and I don't
Yeah.
know.
Speak for yourself.
well, what's
No, I mean in the grand scheme of things.
Oh.
what's gonna happen, I think, which is gonna be sad, is that Nogi is running. These guys are orthogonal to each other. They're moving opposite directions. Nogi's going sports. That's where it's headed. Sports, entertainment, TV. Gi is going martial arts. and the further the martial arts and the sports get away from each other, the less martial arts nogi's going to be. Probably you won't have belts eventually. I don't think it's that far off.
I don't think that's.
I think it's customary and just like a visual thing, like a hair. You've been here a while.
I think it's
Good
just
for
going to
you.
be amateur and professional. This guy gets paid to do it. He's out there doing it. This guy's trying to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
This other guy just comes to class. He has fun.
Like boxing or wrestling.
It sounds great, but you know, the audience, until it gets on a mass scale in the nogi world, what has happened on a mass scale, 200 million people, is martial arts. They all know Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal, and they all wear a fucking gi. Every one of them does. They have a uniform, and they wear belts, and they fucking do yas, and they promote people. And when they think of jiu-jitsu, they think martial arts, and they want that. There's people that want that. They want to be a martial artist. That's their projected idea in their head. And it's not about nogi's fun. It's about I want to be like these martial artists. But eventually, if nogi gets out on a mass scale, but that's big, you know, a lot of people see it. And there is a chance, because there's such a good wrestling infrastructure in this country. Almost every high school does folk style wrestling. It's very big on the college level. It's very developed. So you have a built-in crowd that could seed that no-gi grappling audience and fill it with competitors as well. So there's certainly a chance there, but I don't think the gi's going to go away. I think it's just not going to continue to follow the same trajectory as no-gi. But even today, like no-gi, $1 million CJI, awesome. They just gave $500,000 to Tap Cancer out. They raised that much money for them. That's
great,
freaking amazing. That's pretty cool. You don't see that in the gi world. Maybe someday you might see that, but the gi world is way more developed than no-gi. There's way more tournaments. There's way more competitors. They get thousands of competitors to show up. Thousands. It's probably 25 or 30 to 1, the ratio of gi schools to no-gi schools.
Yeah.
And most of the no-gi schools, half of those students train in the gi or used to train in the gi. So it's not, and that's a cool thing too, because that means that the no-gi world is always going to benefit from those people that go, what is that thing they do without this shit? Because I hate this jacket.
Yeah.
Right? But
that was me.
Yeah. It's hard on a business level though, because you realize like, man, we're not doing martial arts. We're doing sports. And this is practice. But then we're like, where does the martial arts fit in? And we kind of fit it in. And if you don't do it right, it's odd. You know, people they sign up, they come to class, and they never see anyone wear a belt. And then 10 months later, we're like, boom, this guy just got his purple belt. And they're like, what's a purple belt? Like, what does that mean? We have belts? Like, where's my belt? Like,
I've actually never considered that. Maybe the only reason I give belts the credit that I do is because I started in a gi.
That's right.
And I was there. A third of my time in jiu-jitsu was in a gi.
Because you know it from the gi world. You know that a black belt.
It meant a lot.
Yeah. Now, Eddie gives belts.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't wear them in class all the time. Now, some people do. Like, I know Eastman, who up in the Colorado area, they wear their belts in no-gi jiu-jitsu. They just do it so you'll have an idea of the experience level of the person you're
it makes
with.
sense.
But does it? Because how many dudes come in here and have like 6 months of jiu-jitsu but 10 years of wrestling? And they're freaking hell to deal with, dude. They're not. They put a white belt and it's totally misleading.
Yeah.
If you're a wrestler, there should be like some kind of adornment, some kind of annotation we put on your belt or your something. You got to wear like a black.
It's like a white belt with a blue stripe through it.
Yeah. Put a scarlet letter on them. A red W. You wrestled, didn't you?
They come in as gray belts because they're untrustworthy.
Wrestlers can never hide, though.
Oh, we know.
Even if they act like they didn't, it's like the wrestling comes out immediately. As soon as you put them on their butt or they think they're going to be on their butt, they fucking.
Did you just try to perfectly ankle pick me day one? Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Just trying to pass a guard, they're just coming at you like bat out of hell, like just rah, rah, rah.
The great thing is they will throw themselves in a triangle usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm going to stack.
Or a belly down rear.
Yeah.
Rear back take.
Like,
belly down back take. I
They
get
don't
'em
know.
all the
All
time.
the time.
All the time.
You just don't want them to pass your guard because they're like, if they have a good scarf hold, just like, fuck.
Ain't better than mine.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Well-
just pin you.
I don't know. Yeah.
They're not gonna pin me.
What if, you know what? What if somebody comes in that's your size, though?
I've wrestled people my size.
Okay.
Hasn't
Hey.
been recently.
We have an open standing
Open.
challenge. If you can come in here and pin Andrew, I'll buy you a quesadilla from downstairs.
If I get out of the pin, do I also get a quesadilla?
No.
Damn it.
Because
Don't come in if I can't get a quesadilla. 'Cause you're not gonna pin me.
the quesadilla challenge.
Yeah.
You're not gonna pin me. I'll submit you with our quesadilla move that we invented.
Yeah. The queso roll. Beautiful.
Quesadilla.
Quesadilla. What's the quesadilla?
The one where we use Sam in the video we have on our reels, and I wrapped his own arm for
Oh,
his
that's
gift
right.
wrap and then crushed that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
To your credit, I can only not stay pinned in Kessa because you taught me so many fun ways to get out of it and reverse it.
Yeah. It's fun. When you figure out how to use that, especially from
Dude,
bottom
oh
side.
my God.
When you figure out is the bottom side guy how to use it to your advantage,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool.
So I definitely suffer in bottom mount with dudes my size and bigger if they're super good at it. But I have no fear of bottom side control
Yeah.
at all. I don't care what size you are.
I do. Like I don't like being stuck there. Like I don't mind if I can get my body angled,
Mhm.
but flat on my back, not a fan.
No.
Doesn't bother me.
I'd rather you take mount and me try to work out a mount.
I'm just the opposite. I'd rather work out a side.
I will give up my back because I feel
Before
like
you stay inside.
sometimes if it's a really good side control, I'll give up my back.
Is that because you go with the San Quentin, so you kind of already?
Sometimes
turned
you
away?
can get it. I think what happened over time for me is that I have always had a bad habit of turning away from bottom side.
Mm.
And I remember this guy Ryan Murphy, who's a really good black belt, with Crosley Gracie, was like, "Hey, you got to stop doing that." Like he spotted it real quick. It's like you got to stop doing that. And I can play the other escapes. Like if someone gives me space, I can frame and do all that shit. And I've had times where that's all I did.
Mm.
But I still find success turning my back now because of the San Quentin, but also because of like the stupid old man arm lock I get and then turning it into a knee bar. I just have options that I feel like I'm more dangerous from that position than just stuffing me from bottom side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I get that. Because for me, that no fear, a lot of it comes from I haven't really come up against people I can't bench off of me yet.
Right. I mean, if push comes to shove, you can fucking,
I've decided not to be in side control
you could
anymore.
just push somebody. You've pushed me like 4 feet in the air
I
off
know.
of you. Yeah. So it's
'Cause
like,
you weren't
know.
letting me do
I'm like,
stuff. I was trying to do jujitsu, and then I did my stuff.
the problem, yeah, you can't, with you can't get too tight to, I can't get too tight to your upper body.
I've noticed that if I can glue myself to somebody, then they're going to
It's-
go where I want them to
yeah.
go, which is nice.
It's got to be hips.
not nice when you-
hips with you.
Hips.
It's not nice when you notice it, but
Yeah.
I also know how to deal with hips to an extent too, which is nice, and because of you. So let's be clear about that. That's all because of you.
It's all because of you, Lord. Call me Lord from now on.
Negative.
Please.
That's not the name you're adopting.
Call me
With an E.
Call me
Lord with an E.
Lord Coach.
The singer?
Yeah.
Lord. No, that's Lourdes, isn't it? Or is that
No,
Lord?
that's Lord.
I think it's
Call me
pronounced-
Lord. Isn't that with a U? L-O-U-R-D? E?
I don't know.
No.
No idea.
I don't.
Just
really
call
care.
me Lord, dog. With the lowercase L.
Lord Dog.
Call me Lord Dog. Call me Little Lord Dog.
Professor Coach Lord Dog.
Little Coach X.
Esquire. Little Coach X.
Esquire. If you get an Esquire behind your name, you're basically taking adrenochrome. That's the only way you can get it. You have to be in the adrenochrome club to be an Esquire.
No, otherwise I'd have it.
Esquire is a lawyer, huh?
I thought so.
Yeah. I guess you don't have to. It sounds
Sounds a lot more prestigious.
like British
than-
royal to me or something.
Yeah.
Esquire.
Esquire sounds like the fancier version of escort.
I'm an Esquire. It's like a male escort from, from like the
Or just a
1700s.
fancy one.
An Esquire is a John
Yeah, any of the
in the
three of us.
1700s.
Oh, okay. So you're going the opposite
Victorian
way about it,
English.
Okay.
Yeah.
An escort for an Esquire.
Yeah.
That actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Nice.
You filthy Esquire.
We've got 3 Esquires tonight.
I mean, a lawyer is basically a John.
Yeah.
I guess they're the prostitute because you got to pay them.
They're definitely
They're the
soulless.
pimp.
They're
the
definitely
pimp.
fucking
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
They're definitely soulless thieves.
yeah. One way or another, you're getting it. What was the last thing I wanted to run by you? This is the wrong spec sheet.
Dude, did you watch the Marab fight?
I
UFC?
did. Yeah, I did want to talk about
Did you think that was boring? I saw people posting that it was boring. I thought it was a great
Well,
fight.
they thought it was boring because O'Malley wasn't very active. I think in
There was a lot of wrestling.
one of the rounds he threw I want to say he threw 8 or 9 punches.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot. I mean, he just came out and said he's going to have surgery on his hip, a
Yeah.
torn labrum in your hip. And my question is, did he go into the fight knowing that? Because that's kind of jacked up.
I don't know.
Hoping you
It's a
win.
wild call.
Yeah.
How far in the past did you know? Was it 6 weeks ago? Was it just you discovered it a day before and you didn't want to fuck the event up, so you just did it? You ate shit and did it?
Mhm.
That's different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Hard to say. I'm not in this position.
I don't know, man. Because at the day of the fight, I mean, maybe he knew and the team didn't know, but the team were like hyping him up, like you're the champ, like he's not gonna take this from you.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Why
He's-
why hype him up if he's?
well, because you got to, because you're hoping he fucking wins.
I guess, but I mean that's why I'm saying like the team doesn't know that he had this injury, but he did maybe.
I just don't see how the team couldn't know if he was performing like the way he performed in the fight in practice.
I just feel like if they knew that this fight was gonna be like
They'd be more
scrapped,
glum.
maybe not glum, but you're not gonna be like, you'd say things like, just stay in there, be patient, like you got this. Maybe
Well,
not like
Be
you're the
careful
champ.
about your torn labrum.
Listen, there is some speculation and there's been some criticism of Tim Welch's coaching
Yeah,
because in the last round he said basically we're almost done with all of this.
mm.
And then he came out and said, "Hey, I misspoke. What I meant to say was
the round's almost over. Or something
this
like
is
that.
almost over. You're going to clip him."
Yeah,
But he didn't say that. So I think there's some speculation that maybe he knew that Sean was suffering.
Mm.
It was like, "Hey man, you're almost done." I don't know. And I don't know what
I
I
don't know.
would do,
Yeah, I didn't even watch the fight.
but you can't take anything away from Marab.
I've seen the.
dude, Marab, the fourth round. I don't know if the fourth round Marab
It's
beat
amazing.
the shit out of O'Malley.
Yeah, he looked
God damn.
fantastic.
I saw the highlights, which were great. Other than like the chin fucking his shoulder thing, that was weird.
Producer Rob,
Yeah.
who works with the bullpen when we went out to CJI,
Mhm.
and he was also
Senior producer.
way senior producer. You have a lot to learn from him.
Fuck
Uh,
yeah, I know.
He was also producing at Subversive. When we were at 10th Planet Las Vegas, Marab was there training,
cool.
and he came by and we chatted with him for just a minute. It was real nice, like super cool.
Yeah,
But then Rob goes like, "Hey, how's your back?" Because I think Marab had complained that like his back was sore like 8 months ago when Rob was around. So Rob remembered, and he's just trying to like make casual talk. Marab just gave him a dirty look, dude. Just like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah. We're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go in the back now.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over here and podcast."
yeah.
I don't think that I'd ask a killer any question that I think there's a chance he could misinterpret.
Yeah. Well,
That's a bold move.
the problem with killers is they can misinterpret even
Yeah.
the nicest of gestures.
Not asking any questions. Perfect.
Stay on the other
Hey,
side of the room.
Big fan.
Yeah,
You
Good luck.
never talk to me.
his
What's wrong?
gas tank though, man,
It's good.
was fucking crazy, dude.
Pretty amazing.
That dude was moving all over the place and doing all
Yeah.
kinds of wasted energy movements. Like,
Yeah. What did you think of the fights in general?
I thought the Grasso versus Shevchenko fight was not very entertaining.
Not
But-
super entertaining.
No, but I'm disappointed that Grasso lost because obviously I want the
Yeah.
Mexican fighter to win. But
Bullshit.
Shevchenko
is sick.
had an amazing performance.
Yeah,
there's no
she
way
looked
you can
good.
take it away from
She
her.
looked good.
I like
she's
Valentino.
Man, she's cementing herself as like probably the best female competitor. I know they love to give it to Nunez, but
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I don't know how you take it away from her.
Valentina's a savage.
What's her record?
I looked that up.
It's
right
gotta
now.
be, like,
it doesn't suck.
amazing.
I'll tell you that.
It's
Yeah.
just,
I like the other fights. I thought the Sphere was pretty rad, dude.
I thought it was fucking amazing. I really think that the venue was made for fights.
Dude, right?
Which is so weird considering Dana said it's going to be like a one and done.
I think they're going to be back at the Sphere. It might be like a once a year thing.
Yeah.
They should do their fucking.
The tell of the tale with the two
Oh my god!
fighters and all the stats right there. You're just
It's
looking
like
right
watching
at
it on your VR,
It's nuts, yeah.
but you're not on
sick.
the VR. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Shevchenko is 24, 4-1.
What's her? What's like her last? How long did she defend the title? How many defenses did she have? Does it say? That's how they judge a champion. It's
Yeah.
like, how many times do you defend the title?
It's going through all the like takedown and punch stats right now.
So this dude Harrison, who filmed in the gym, they used the gym. He used the gym about 4 or 5 months ago to film a commercial for Jocko's new energy drink line that's coming out. He hit me up randomly. He's like, "Hey, I'm in the Nashville area. I got to film some stuff, and your gym looks like a really cool spot. Can I use it?" I'm like, "Yes, you can use it." What's up?
I was going to say, if I'm looking at this correctly and counting this correctly, she won it and held it for 9 total fights and 8 victorious defenses.
Then lost to Grasal the 9th, I guess,
Yes.
and then lost again. And then
Draw.
Draw.
That was her draw.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a draw.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
it was.
This was the
This
third
was
one.
like the 2 out of 3,
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
and Valentina got the 2 out of 3. So she's
Okay.
now got the belt.
Wow, they got to fight again then. It's the only
Just
way to
keep
settle
running
it.
it back.
Keep running it back.
Next noche.
Every 4 months, is fight each other.
Yeah.
Just the 2 of them.
So this guy Harrison, I was checking out his Instagram, and they called him at the last minute and said, "We want you to come down to the Sphere, and you're basically going to be the videographer of the dude that paid all the money for it, Riyadh."
Riyadh.
And so he's got a cool reel on Instagram. I'll shout out his Instagram here, where he kind of goes over all of it. And this guy's a freaking stud, dude. He's awesome. He does a great job with his videos. He is Harrison with 2 N's, HARRISONN on Instagram. I really would like this dude to do something for us. Gratis would be awesome. But
When he was editing video roll for the Sphere, how many times do you think the computer that was sending it to the actual Sphere part of it was like, "Yeah, you don't have enough pixels for this. The resolution size is way off."
Can't be done. He had this crazy like rig over him that could take like 360.
Oh wow.
So you really get to see
He was editing in a gyroscope.
You get to see the well, he was filming.
Oh,
And then he goes back and edits it and creates the reel or the video basically. It's
nuts.
he created a reel of he's going to create this big video thing.
Yeah.
But he's got this rig on where you can like scan up and see you get to see the whole ceiling is also pixeled out with like, so you're really, I think it's like that soaring over California ride at California Adventure.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, I
How
know
it's,
what you're
I
talking
think
about.
it's almost like that, but maybe even more covering you, because on that ride, if you look to the left, you're like, oh shit, I'm on like a thing with a bunch of people, you know? It seems like it's something like that.
Damn, that's sick, dude.
It's pretty wild.
I wonder if in the future we're all gonna have our own little sphere that we watch
Maybe.
TV in.
Yeah. I always thought, like, what if you had some micro drone that was like almost maybe you couldn't even see it,
Yeah.
and it filmed you from a third party objective, and then
That'd be
you
sick.
could have that view of yourself in your little fucking goggle or your implant. So, like, video games, you could be first person or you could be third person.
Right,
You-
right.
over the shoulder too.
Yeah, or over the shoulder. Yeah, you could just have
Eyes in the back of your head.
have these 3 views going at all times.
Yeah.
It's not crazy, like totally possible.
Yeah. Completely.
I think we're already in it.
Yeah, probably. What was I gonna say? I don't remember, but it's been a great show, dude. Oh, hey, I got good news. Sean Applegate is coming out to Nashville to do a workshop with us. But it's going to be on a Wednesday night, which is
I'm off Wednesday
not
night.
the perfect night, but he's only going to be in the area for a few days. He's like, hey, do you want to try to do something? And a lot of normally I'd be like, nah, I don't know. But Sean is top 5 coaches, probably, I think. He's really good. He's totally underrated, like in a huge way.
Fuck yeah.
He's really fucking good. So I'll get you guys more information on that, but he'll be out. I think it's October 23rd.
23rd.
I think so. Yeah, it's a Wednesday night. So I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that, man, not much else going on. Just gearing up for. We got the bullpen tomorrow. It's 6 p.m. Central.
Still got that Patreon.
Still got the Patreon, patreon.com/InsideBJJ.
Tim's putting content up there all the time.
Trying to. I'm a tiny bit behind, but I got a bunch in the shoot that I'm going to upload.
You got anywhere you're traveling to this weekend?
Not this weekend. I'm staying home.
And if things work out, Mindworm podcast episode 1 with Tim Freeman will be next week.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, it's going to work out. I'm going to see to
Excited.
it.
There it is.
I'm a senior producer, dude. I know how to.
You're going to be a senior. When's the last time you were a guest where just somebody was just asking you questions?
About 2 weeks ago, I was on the Neon Belly podcast with Drew Foster. Check that out, by the way.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Neon is Neon. Neon.
Oh, that's
Belly.
a clever name.
Yeah. Drew is a really cool dude, man. I really like that guy. He's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's got a Patreon too. I think it's Drew Dars or Darsh Drew.
Okay.
He's a super.
We've had him on the show.
Yeah.
I've met him through here anyway, but yeah. He was cool.
He's a cool dude. He's
Super
like
nice.
He's like the vice commissioner of the PGF.
Nice.
He's like Brandon's guy.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Nice commissioner.
Sweet. All right, dudes. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Good show. Had a good time. I think we're done here.
Night.